Hello, Science Lines. Hello, I am Lara. This is Theatre of Science. We're really working the theatre bit of my business name today because I am actually trained to teach science to secondary school children, but I've also got a science degree, drama degree, and I love theatre, and I love Shakespeare, and I love acting, so I'm going to teach you some Shakespeare. We're doing the Tempest. It doesn't matter if you didn't see our first Tempest lesson, I'll catch you up. Have you done these activities? First of all, I'm not going to tell you the answer straight away, we will go into it in a little bit. I asked you, is our skin waterproof? Yes, no, or a bit. I would have got it wrong, I have to say, if I hadn't looked it up. And also, one of the characters in The Tempest, they're 15 and they've been on this island since they were 3 with only their dad. What do you imagine them to be wearing? Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a sec. I'll just catch people up because, you know, even if you did come to last week's lesson, you might have been busy doing other stuff, leading your lives, you might have forgotten what happened. So the very first scene of The Tempest with incredible PowerPoint special effects. We've been on a boat, the very first scene, we're on a boat, there's a storm, there's this bosun. Basically, it doesn't really matter what he's saying, he's just being in charge of the sailors and being in control of the situation. Hi my hearts, cheerly, cheerly my hearts, 10 to the topsail, 10 to the master's whistle. A king called Alonso comes onto the deck and starts trying to boss him around. Good bosun, have care, where's the master, play the men. And I'm cutting it a bit. The bosun basically says, could you just please go back down into your cabin, I have got this. And then another important person called Antonio comes on, where is the master bosun? Again, starts being quite bossy, and the bosun gets less patient and says, seriously, please just go back down to the cabin, please. You guys are not qualified to be on a boat in a storm. Another man called Gonzalo, who's a sort of kindly chap, who's the sort of advisor to the king. He's like, oh, no, good, come on, be patient. You've got a king here. You've got to watch who you're talking to. And that's when the bosun loses it and says this famous line, what cares these roarers for the name of king? Like, the storm doesn't care how important you humans are. Just go away. I didn't tell you last week that also on the ship is Sebastian, who is Alonso, the king's little brother. I've given him a very little crown, so that you know that. And the king's son, Ferdinand, is also on the ship. We don't see him a lot because he's doing as he's told, basically. He's staying in his cabin. But yeah, on the deck, we've met the king, Antonio, Gonzalo, the king's brother, and the king's son as well. And then the bosun goes off, and one of my favourite lines, Gonzalo says, oh, I'm really comforted by this guy. He's so awful. He was definitely born to be hanged to death, not drown in the sea. So we're probably fine. And then there's this terribly confused noise. Mercy on us, we split, and we assume, well, the ship sinks, we find out. And then the very next scene, I'm just going to do a couple of sentences. We get this character, Miranda. She's the one who's 15, saying, Dad, did you make that terrible storm? Dad, I've just seen this beautiful ship and it was beautiful, so it must have had amazing people on it, getting broken up, and it really upset me. And Prospero, her dad, says, Miranda, we've been living alone on this island for 12 years. I think it's time I told you how we got here. To which she replies, oh great. It never occurred to me why it was just you and me and on an island and nobody else. So Prospero tells her this story. He says, look, I actually used to be Duke. You don't know this, but I'm a really important person. I was Duke of Milan in Italy. But my evil brother, Antonio, we've met him. We met him on the ship. Turns out he's evil. He stole Prospero's dukedom from him by teaming up with the King of Naples, Alonso. Gasp, we've already met both these characters. So it turns out, we find out, these two were very mean. They teamed up together to kick Prospero out, basically. They put Prospero and little 3-year-old Miranda in a boat and just sent them out to sea. But they didn't die because they got helped by Gonzalo. Oh, it's all coming together. We've met him too. So Gonzalo gave them some clothes and some books and some fresh water and whatever, and food. And they managed to get to this island. Now, just going to bring it back to my face. Hello. They go off and meet another character who we will talk about next week. We'll talk all about Caliban next week because he's a very important, excellent character. And yeah, we'll split him up. We'll cover him next week. The next thing they do is Ferdinand, the king's son. So last week we found out that the ship sunk, but actually the whole storm and all the ship sinking and everything that happened to the people was all down to Prospero. Prospero is working with this magical spirit Ariel who lives on the island. And Ariel's doing everything that Prospero wants him to do to control everything. So the king's son has been kind of rescued from the shipwreck plopped on his own on the island, and he wanders on, accompanied by some lovely music. Ariel plays him some music. So let's have a little look at Ariel's song. I'll teach you a tiny little bit of science as well. So here's Ferdinand. He's been left all on his own on the island. He wanders around, surrounded by some lovely music. Can you, right, well, we'll do the song first. So the song that Ariel is singing to draw Ferdinand towards Prospero and Miranda is "Full fathom 5 thy father lies, of his bones are coral made, those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange." Oh, my neck is gorgeous, isn't it? First of all, the science. Can you get your arms and just stretch them apart as far as they will go? You will really have to stretch as far as you will go. And even then, we probably won't be able to manage it. This is very roughly what a fathom is. A fathom was, in ye olden times, a unit of measurement, and it was the distance between probably a man's outstretched fingers. So it's about 6 metres. So Ariel is singing. Ferdinand can't see Ariel, but he can hear this lovely music in his ears. I say lovely. The tune is probably lovely. It hasn't survived, sadly, or I'd sing it to you. But we just know the words. "Full fathom 5 thy father lies." So he's singing, your dad, Alonso the king, is that times 5 under the sea. So Ferdinand is very upset because he thinks that his dad is dead. He thinks that he is the king. But it's very famous, this bit. For good reason. Of his bones are coral made, so his bones are made from corals now. Those are pearls that were his eyes have become pearls. Nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change. And this word sea change is still really famous. It still means if you've undergone a big change. What an amazing visual that this king is now sort of become one with the sea and isn't a human anymore. Anyway, right. Thought experiment for you, please. You're Ferdinand, okay? So you've been travelling in the sea, you're miles and miles away from home. He's actually been to a wedding and they're coming home. So you're in the middle of the ocean, on a ship, absolutely miles away from where you live. There's a terrible storm, your ship is destroyed, you kind of wake up, you're on an island, you've got absolutely no idea where you are, and you suddenly see somebody else who looks like they live on the island. What do you say? What's the first thing that you say? Come on, really say it out loud. Just don't think about it too much. Just, what comes to you? You've been shipwrecked on an island far from your home country. A person appears who looks like they live on the island. What's the first thing you say to them? Actually, what would your first sentence be? You can write it down if you want and just say it out loud. Have you thought of something? So, when I do these lessons live on Facebook, there's a comment section. If you want, you can go over to my Facebook page and write a comment there, and I'll see it at the end if you're watching live. But yeah, most people in the Facebook lesson were saying things like, "Help!" or "Where am I?" or "Do you know how I can get home and off this island?" But what if the person who you just met, who looked like they live on the island, what if they were really attractive? What if you thought they were the most beautiful person you'd ever seen? Now what would you say? It's probably the same thing, isn't it? You're probably saying, "Lara, my ship has been destroyed. I don't know, all my friends and family are elsewhere in my home country. I probably haven't even noticed how attractive the person who I've just met is." Well, here's what Ferdinand says when he first sees Miranda. It was 400 years ago, folks. "Most sure the goddess on whom these airs attend." So these airs are the lovely music. So, oh my goodness, you must be the goddess that this music is playing for. "Vouchsafe my prayer may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here." So in other words, what you were probably thinking, like, "Oh, do you live here? Can you please give me some instructions as to how I can look after myself? But my prime request, which I do last pronounce, so that the most important thing I have to ask you, even though I'm saying it last, is, oh, you wonder if you be maid or no." Kids, I don't know what level you're at. Some of you have seen my reproduction modules, some of you haven't. If you be maid or no. In Shakespeare's time, a maid was like someone who hadn't had a boyfriend. It's someone who, he's basically saying, Have you ever had sex with another man? Have you got a boyfriend? Have you ever been involved in a relationship with anyone else before? Have you ever tried to have babies with anybody else? Because if you haven't, we should totally get together. And if you have, doesn't matter how beautiful you are, this can't happen, because he thinks that he's a king, he's very important, he deserves a fabulous wife, and if all those things are true, then she can be his wife. And Miranda, because it's 400 years ago, and the Spice Girls haven't invented girl power yet, she says, well, no wonder, sir. Isn't that respectful, sir? No wonder, well, I'm not that great. But yes, all those things absolutely are true. I have never had a boyfriend before. So, Tempest is really unusual because we've looked at how women weren't allowed to be on the stage in Shakespeare's day. It wasn't illegal, it just wasn't the done thing. So the male actors would dress up as women and play the women's parts. But the Tempest only has one female character in it. Miranda is the only woman, even in character-wise, in the Tempest. We don't know why. Maybe she is representing all of womankind, this idea of the kind of perfect, innocent, virgin person who hasn't been affected by any of the sort of horrible, mundane, day-to-day things that people in real life are affected by. Did you think about what she was wearing? So, well, I'll show you actually, because I found this out. I didn't know this. Apparently he's a really famous artist. I've never heard of him. The English artist John William Waterhouse painted Miranda twice. This delighted me. He painted her once at the very start of his career in 1875. And he painted her again at the end of his career in 1916. And these are the two paintings. And I was thinking, can you tell me which one's which? Can you guess which one's which? If you know a lot about art, you might be able to recognise which one of these was drawn by a less experienced painter and which one was a painter who knew more what they were doing. I probably wouldn't be able to tell that myself. But let's have a look at them. So one of them he painted early and one of them he painted when he had much more experience. Here is a Miranda who is very young. She's got no shoes on. She's got beautiful plaited hair with a very, very clean white ribbon tied around it. This lovely white dress. She's looking out over a calm sea. I mean, it's a great picture, isn't it? He clearly knew what he was doing. And here's the next one. A lot of people saying she looks like Merida from Brave. I can totally see that. She's got shoes on, which is a little different. This is a much darker picture. She's got a dark blue dress on. She's got a little kind of purse around her waist. It's a much stormier sea. She's got a hand on her chest, like you can tell she's seeing the beautiful ship being destroyed. She's really feeling sad about it. Her hair's quite loose. Which one of those do you think is the first painting? And which one do you think is the painting that he painted at the end of his career, when he'd had a bit more experience? I mean, it's interesting for us, I think, just in terms of how ideas about who Miranda is have changed over the years, even while this one artist was alive. Have you decided? They're in order. The first one is the early one, and the later one is the darker one. Isn't that? I think that's really interesting, because you probably, and it's important to think about what the costumes are in The Tempest, because obviously Shakespeare didn't write the play for us to read it and go, oh yes, I see. He wrote it for people to see it. So it's important when you read a play to picture it in your head. You probably said that she was wearing kind of natural materials from the island, like maybe things made out of leaves or woven garments. Usually if you see a production now, she's wearing something that looks like it might be the kind of sail of a ship. Because you probably pointed out that old man Gonzalo, when he was putting stuff in the boat to help them, wasn't putting in an outfit for a 10-year-old girl and an outfit for a 12-year-old girl. Like, why? We probably didn't do that. Someone in the Facebook comment said maybe she's wearing some of Prospero's old clothes, which I thought was brilliant. I've never seen that in a production. That would be great. I would love that. But even John William Waterhouse, a bloke alive in the early 1900s, and we all know what they were like, he's clearly had some very different ideas, hasn't he? Like, this Miranda is probably the old-fashioned view of Miranda. She's very pure, she's very innocent, she's very unrealistic, isn't she? She's not dressed for a stormy day at sea. How are her clothes so white? Who has done her hair like this? Really, she's been doing her hair like that every day, has she, for 12 years, even though she lives on her own with her dad. This one, she's dressed for life on an island. She's got shoes on. She's got something to keep her stuff in. You know, maybe she's made a little bit less effort, I don't know, with her hair. yeah, it's interesting how Miranda has changed over the years. So I thought we'd dig into one little bit in detail rather than trying to do the whole of the Tempest. Here's what happens after Miranda and Ferdinand see each other for the first time. Prospero says, they are both in either's powers, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. So, in other words, Miranda is a prize for Ferdinand, but Prospero is saying, okay, they're both clearly in love with each other, they're in either's powers, but I've got to make it a little bit harder for Ferdinand, because if he wins Miranda too quickly, he's not going to appreciate her. I need to make it difficult for him to get her. So he says to Ferdinand, one word more I charge thee, that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy, to win it from me the lord on. In other words, I think you're a terrible person, you're clearly a spy, you're here to steal my island off me. Ferdinand says, no, as I am a man. And Miranda says this famous line, there's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. His temple is like his head. So, come on, Dad, look at that face. There's nothing ill. There's not possible that anyone with a great face like that could have bad thoughts. Make not too rash a trial of him. Don't be too harsh. Don't jump to conclusions, Dad, for he's gentle and not fearful. And Prospero says, what, I say, my foot, my tutor? So someone who is sort of supposed to be below me at my feet is suddenly trying to tell me what to do. And then says to Ferdinand, put thy sword up, traitor, who makest a show but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. So you're looking like you're going to hit me with that sword, but you're definitely not, because you feel too guilty about being a spy. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop. Miranda says, beseech you, father. And Prospero says, hence, hang not on my garment. So what I'd like you to do for me, please, is can you spot any hidden stage directions where Shakespeare is telling the actor what to do? Can you see the themes of control and judging by appearance being mentioned here that we've talked about last lesson? And how can you make Miranda less pathetic in this scene without changing the words as well? Some of you, if you're watching live, then the Royal Shakespeare Company, the RSC, are taking their version of the Tempest around the country at the moment. It's called First Encounters, so it's for people who haven't seen Shakespeare plays before. And I must admit, I really, really did not like it. I maybe shouldn't tell you that. I really didn't like it. I thought it was very slow and boring, and they would have been better off just putting on a blooming production of the Tempest. But they did do something that I really liked. They did a really simple thing that didn't change the words, but just gave Miranda a little bit more power in this scene. So have a think about that as well. You have as long as it takes me to go and put my heating on, because I'm really chilly. Better. It's a nice thing about working from home, tax deductible heating. How are you doing? They're not particularly hidden stage directions, are they? There's quite a lot of action in this bit. And then we'll do the activity after this, and I'll tell you whether your skin is waterproof. If you're finished already, one of the things you could do is be looking at the rhythm. So if you came last week, we've talked quite a lot about how Shakespeare wrote in sort of poetry that had a specific rhythm, and how he sometimes wrote where the characters were just talking. If you know a bit about that, have a little look at where you think you can see the rhythm and the verse in this, and where you can see people just talking. And if you're thoroughly done, you can like and subscribe and go over to my Facebook page, where there's a post that if you say hello, then I will say hello back. Oh, I know that Shuki and Elsa and Eunice and Salah and Musa are watching. So hello, you lot. Should we go through it? I need to move my hands. Okay, right. Hidden stage directions. How are you doing? Well, they start over here, don't they? Put thy sword up, traitor. For I can here disarm thee with this stick. I'm laughing because Shakespeare did have some special effects. He had trapdoors in his stages and he had pulleys that could pull people up, but he didn't have that much. The words had to do a lot of the work. I'm laughing because last year we studied Midsummer Night's Dream, and there's a bit in that where Oberon, one of the characters, has to go invisible, and they do it by he just says, "I am invisible," and then the other actors come on and they have to act like they can't see the actor playing Oberon. And it feels a little bit like this to me. So Prospero's got his stick, and his magical stick is more powerful than Ferdinand's sword. So he just says, "I can disarm thee with this stick," and the actor playing Ferdinand just has to go, "Ah," and then drop the sword. It works, doesn't it? It works. And then make thy weapon drop. Yes, so that's what happens. But did you get this also? This hang not on my garment. So we know that Miranda is kind of pulling at Prospero's clothes. It's quite a weak image, isn't it? They are both in either's powers. There's loads of talk about the themes that we've looked at already in the Tempest. Power and control. Usurp means kind of take over. Prospero is saying that Miranda and Ferdinand have kind of both have power over each other because they're in love with each other. Also, he's worried that Ferdinand has come to try and overpower him. Miranda, bless her, just with the things being pretty, must be lovely on the inside as well. Nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. My foot, my tutor. So Miranda's obviously 15, so this is quite an important time of her life. She's becoming a woman, isn't she? So the power dynamic between Prospero and Miranda is changing as she grows up. But she's still got these. She's quite weak in a lot of ways, isn't she? Beseech you, Father, is kind of begging. She's pulling on his clothes. So some of you were saying on Facebook yesterday, Jacob was saying, she could say her lines really angrily. Yes, I like that. She could. She could. Excuse me. She could speak sort of sarcastically. A lot of people were saying that you would maybe change the way that she spoke. Another thing that you could do, that the Royal Shakespeare Company did that I really liked, was they had Prospero trying to interrupt her, which was sort of a really simple little clever thing to do. If you go and see the show, see if they do it, or if it was just a one-off. Miranda was talking, and obviously it wasn't a real line because Prospero doesn't have a line, that bit in the play, but while she was talking, he just kind of went, and she went, and then carried on with her line. I was like, that's really nice, because this stuff's 400 years old, you know, as we'll talk about next week as well. A lot of it is sexist and racist and doesn't need to be done in exactly the way that Shakespeare wanted it to be done. You can change little bits, and I thought that's a really clever way of keeping the Shakespeare the same, maybe just giving the female character a little bit more power. Right, okay, very quickly, okay, we will do the activity. You need just some flour and a spoon and a bowl of water. If you've got cocoa powder, please bring some cocoa powder as well. It actually works loads better with cocoa powder, but you're not all going to have it, so it's fine with flour. I just want to really quickly nerd out over this bit because I saw something that I haven't. Oh my God, I've seen a lot of productions of The Tempest, but I'd never noticed this. When Prospero is saying they are both in either's powers, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. I can't make that first bit be a rhythm. We've been talking about iambic pentameter and how Shakespeare likes to use this da-dum, 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 da-dum rhythm. Like, make the prize light, one word more I charge thee is, make the prize light, one word more I charge thee. That's quite a good rhythm. That thou attend me, thou dost here usurp. That's rhythm, that's verse. The name thou owest not, and hath put thyself. But this bit at the top, they are both in either's powers. I think that's just talking, because he's talking to himself here. He's talking to the audience. And then when Ferdinand comes on, he moves into verse. But there's this gorgeous kind of in-betweeny bit that I hadn't noticed. So it's like talking, make the prize light, one word more I charge thee. He turns and talks to Ferdinand. It sort of reminds me of like in the olden days when we used to have landlines and you had to be in the same room as the phone, which was on a string. It was hundreds of years ago. You might be like talking to your friend like, oh yeah, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then your mum would come in and you'd have to go, yeah, and this happened, and this happened, and then yes, no, that homework is really difficult, but I've been working hard on it. No, it really made me realise this is why people talk about acting being difficult in Shakespeare plays, because there's so much going on. Like, you just to be able to kind of get all of that in you and give all that to the audience must be really difficult. Yeah. Anyway, right, come on, let's do this activity, because we're going to finally move on to the posh characters which are on another bit of the island. The king and Antonio, Sebastian, the king's little brother, and Gonzalo, the king's advisor. Alonso is gutted because he thinks that his son is dead. Ferdinand thinks his dad is dead, but Ferdinand seems to have got over it fairly quickly. But Alonso is very, very sad because he thinks his son, who was going to take over his kingdom after him, is dead. This is terrible. Gonzalo is trying to cheer him up. He's doing a really, really bad job of it. So let's do this activity to think about, to warm us up for that. What you've got to do is you just get a tablespoon or teaspoon of flour or cocoa powder and dip it into water, see what happens. Have you ever done this? It's amazing. I've done it with flour before. I'll do it with flour first and then I'll do it with cocoa powder. Because you're probably using flour, most of you. What do you think is going to happen? Go on. What's going to happen? What do you reckon? I'd be a very bad science teacher if I didn't say, predict, my children, what is going to happen when you dip a spoonful of flour into water and then pull it up again? I would have said the flour will get all soggy. But you probably know that's not what's going to happen, because that would be a rubbish science activity. Should we do it? Some people were saying it was going to stay dry. How would that work? Let's go. Can you see that? Is that okay? It's wet. Oh, it pops! Did you see that? It pops! It pops! Why? Let's do that again. Oh, you get this gorgeous little popping. So that's really good. I mean, I'm really happy with that as an activity. And I'm just going to put that in the special where I keep wet flour part of my desk. So you can just keep doing that over and over again. See what kind of result you get. Experiment with how long you leave it in the water for. It just peels apart to reveal dry flour underneath. That is very cool. So usually I'll try and do stuff with really, really simple objects so that you will have it at home. But I've got to show you the cocoa powder one because it's really good. And I only did this myself for the first time yesterday. Cocoa powder. Ready? What? What? Did you see that? I'm going to do that again. You ready? It stays dry. It stays dry. I want to get it so it's not dry. I'm going to hold it under for a little bit longer because I want a watery skin. Yeah, but it's so good. Why is it happening? Why is it happening? Why are we doing this also as well? Okay, good. Now I've got a layer of water on. I can make it pop. It's so good. Right, okay. I'm going to make some brownies later. Come back up here with me. Oh. Why we're doing this activity? Well, shall I explain it first? I'll very quickly explain it first and then I'll tell you why we're doing this activity. What is happening is, basically cocoa powder's got fat in it. And we know that fat doesn't mix with water, don't we? That's why you've got to use washing up liquid if you're trying to get grease off your hands. Is why oil floats on water. Fat and water, they don't mix together. The particles just don't do that. So the fat in the cocoa powder means that the water doesn't go into the cocoa powder. I'm assuming, I don't know actually, I'm assuming obviously that flour does have some fat in it as well, which is why it works, but it doesn't work quite as well because it's probably got a lower fat content. Water particles are a little bit like magnets. Water particles have one end that is a bit positive and one end that is a bit negative. And opposites attract, so the positive and the negative ends sort of stick together like that. Very similar to magnets, which is why you get this little skin of water, this kind of chain of water particles across the top of your cocoa powder or your flour. And then, I suppose because gravity is kind of pulling it apart eventually, or if you poke it, you break it apart, kind of like cutting a trampoline and it goes twang like that. So that's the scientific explanation. The reason we're doing it is because Gonzalo... So you think your son's dead, right? Alonso is in a really bad place. Someone should just ask him how he is and listen, but they don't. Gonzalo is like, oh, but come on, it's such a beautiful day and this island's so lovely and everything that we need is here. And one of the things he said, he notes that their garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and gloss, being rather new-dyed than stained with salt water. Like, come on, look at our clothes. Even though they were drenched in the sea, they're really fresh and glossy. It's like they've been newly dyed instead of stained with salt water. This isn't a huge comfort to Alonso, funnily enough. Gonzalo says loads of things, bless him. Antonio and Sebastian just kind of laugh at him and pick holes in what he says in a very, very mean way. Did you get... So it turns out your skin is waterproof. I didn't know this. I would have said that your skin was a bit waterproof, but we all know that if we stay in the bath for too long, our fingers go all wrinkly, and surely that's because water is going into our skin. But no, it's not. That's not what's happening. It's not that water's going into your skin and swelling up. It's that after your fingers have been in water for a while, in the same way that your heart beating is involuntary, you can't control it, the blood vessels, like the blood tubes in your fingers, shrink. And that's what makes the bumps. Apparently it's so that we can still grip things. It's easier to grip wet things if you've got ridges. It's like evolution. I know. Why has Shakespeare decided that these characters should have completely dry clothes? Maybe partly part of the magic of the island, like, oh look, this isn't real, there's something kind of otherworldly about this, someone else is in control here, this is not nature happening as nature should be happening. Maybe also because it's just a lot easier on the stage to not have the characters look all soggy for ages. Here's another very famous thing that Gonzalo says, before I do a tiny little quiz with you. He just goes off on one, really. Gonzalo really likes to chat, and he's talking about how fantastic the island is, how everything they need is here, and he ends up saying, if I were king of this island, what would I do? Hey, my king, if I were king on this island, here's an amusing thought for you, what would I do? In a commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate, letters should not be known, riches, poverty, and use of service none. So it just gets very carried away. He starts off saying, no name of magistrate, like there wouldn't be any judges, there wouldn't be any rich people or poor people, there wouldn't be any slaves, no enslaved people, there wouldn't be any servants, none of that stuff. And then it just gets a little bit carried away. No contract, no succession, born bound of land, till means basically farming. No farming, no vineyards, no way of growing crops. No, do you know what? We wouldn't use metal, or corn, or wine, actually, or oil. No, we wouldn't do that. No occupation, no one would have a job. All men would be idle, and women too, but women would be innocent and pure. No sovereignty, at which point Sebastian, who isn't a very nice character, but I think the audience is probably with him here, says, yeah, he would be king on it. Like, Gonzalo saying, if I was a king on this island, do you know what I'd do? I wouldn't have any kings. And Sebastian just basically face palming in the background. This kind of reminds me of what we were talking about with Miranda being this epitome of beauty and virginity and innocence, and that being very perfect. I like to think that Shakespeare is showing us in this speech that that is a ridiculous idea, because if you take this idea too far of just humans living perfectly at one with perfect nature that hasn't been altered, it just doesn't work. I'm hoping that that's maybe him saying this absolutely perfect divine character Miranda is also not possible. Who knows? Anyway, like I say, we will talk about Caliban next week. I don't really need to tell you all the details. Hopefully at some point you're going to see the Tempest. I don't want to do too many spoilers, but there is a scene quite near the end where Miranda and Ferdinand have got together. Prospero is okay with them getting together. They've fallen in love with each other, and they have this lovely big masque to celebrate the fact that they've got together. You remember me saying that last week that masks were very big kind of opera / acting / dance shows that the king and queen of the time, King James, was really into. So Shakespeare maybe sort of stuck one in for them to please the king and queen because they were seeing the play. Right, and then the mass gets interrupted because Prospero says, oh, wait, I've just remembered that someone's trying to murder me, so I need to go and sort that out. So next week we will look at who is trying to murder Prospero and the character of Caliban and how it all ends. Right, so that is the end of the lesson, except I've got 3 questions for you, just 3 little multiple choice questions, and you've got to choose the answer that you think is correct and then write down or just remember the letter next to the right answer. And then at the end, you will have a 3-letter word and it's a mystery word. And if you've got all the questions right, you will have my mystery word. And if not, you might have your own mystery word. And that's fine too. Here we go. Your first question is, what's a fathom, the distance between? A fathom is the distance between, if you think it's from a person's foot to the top of a head, then your mystery letter is B. If you think it's outstretched fingertip to outstretched fingertip, then write an L. And if you think it's outstretched foot to outstretched foot, can you write a P, please? So what is a fathom? It feels like hours ago we did this. I've got no idea what time it is. What's a fathom? If it's from someone's head to their foot, write a B. If it's outstretched fingertip to fingertip, write an L. And if it's outstretched foot to outstretched foot, write a P. Okay, next one. Why is the Tempest unusual? Is it because it only has one female character? Write an O. Is it because women were allowed on stage when it was written? Because it was one of his last plays. Write an I. And if it's because the female character's story ends happily, hooray, then write an A. Why is the Tempest unusual? It's only got one female character, write an O. Women were allowed on stage when it was written, write an I. The female character's story ends happily, write an A. Ready? Next one. Which phrase, still in use today, comes from the Tempest? Which phrase that we still use today? Not very much. I don't think I've ever said it in a sentence, but it still gets used. Is it to be or not to be? Write a P. Is it out damn spot? Write a B. Or is it sea change? Write a G. P, to be or not to be. B, out damn spot. Or G, sea change. Okay, have you got your mystery word? Let's see if it's the right mystery word. If you've seen The Tempest, you might know how this does relate to The Tempest, this mystery word. A fathom is the distance between an outstretched fingertip to an outstretched fingertip, about 6 metres. So Ferdinand's dad, the King Alonso, is allegedly, not really, 5 of those under the sea. So the mystery letter was an L. The Tempest is unusual because it only has one female character. So the next letter of the mystery word was an O. And the phrase still in use today from the Tempest is sea change. If you say that something has undergone a sea change, it means that it's really changed. It's had a very significant change. So the mystery word was log. There you go. Which is sort of vaguely related to the Tempest, because there's a scene where Miranda goes to find Ferdinand, who's been all chained up by Prospero and has been made to move logs around for no reason. And Ferdinand says, "What's your name?" And she says, "Miranda." "Oh no, I told my dad I wouldn't tell you my name." Power struggle, you see. Right, that is the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you come back next week where we've got a whole new activity and a whole new lesson about The Tempest. And then we're going to do a couple of lessons on Shakespeare's poems, which I've never looked at before. It's really pleased me. And they really fit with some science activities, actually. We can really do a kind of even science Shakespeare split for the last 2 lessons. I'm going to go over to my Facebook page because whenever I'm live on YouTube, I don't have any comments. So I say, if you want to go over to my Facebook page, if you're watching live, and put up a little hello, then I will say hello to you, and that would be nice. Excuse me. How this is my job, just while I'm getting to Facebook, how I'm doing this for a living, because this is actually my job, it's clearly the best job ever. How it works is, everything I do is free, and I just say pay me if you want, and you are. So yeah, it's this amazing business model. I am actually trained to teach science up to A-level at secondary school, but like I say, I have got a first-class drama degree as well, and I'm actually York Shakespeare Project Secretary as well, so yeah. Pretty big deal. If you want to fund my lessons, you can. I stream it all for free. They're all saved on Catch Up. All the printouts to go with them are free. I do a Lego story show, which is live. If you're watching live at 10:30, you can totally come and see that as well. It's about limpets. Yeah, just everything is free, basically. I don't do any private tuition. I don't have anyone paying me loads of money secretly in the background. You are my audience. So if you would like to pay my wages, you can. There's this website called Coffee, where you can chip in towards my wages, and I will send you very nice things to say thank you so much Clearly this is the best job ever and I want to keep doing it. It's actually now, it wasn't out of choice, but it's the only way anyone in my family makes money now. So yeah, someone's got to pay me. How it works is I say, if you go to my Coffee page and send me £5 a month, then £5 a month from everyone who's watching is enough that it equals wage for me, but hopefully not too much money for you. So if you sign up, I will send you some rainbow glasses that make you see rainbows. They're amazing. They're so good. They just make you, they split white light into all the colours of rainbow. And I'll send you a description I wrote of how they work because I'm a physics teacher. And I'll send you a past issue of Theatre of Science magazine. Oh my days, this takes me ages. It takes me so long. If you are supporting me, I'm so sorry that the current one is so very, 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 very late. But it is coming and it is going to be brilliant. If you sign up now though, I'll send you a past copy. Sign up with £5 a month and I'll send you the past issue, which is about mould. Comes with a free home compostable plastic bag, so you can do a growing mould activity and then try and identify your mould. And it comes with a choose your own adventure and a comic and loads of ideas for activities. And if you sign up with £6 a month, I'll send you the sleep issue, which also has a choose your own adventure and a comic, and it comes with a little bag of organic lavender and some material so that you can do some sewing. And if you sign up with £9 a month or £1 billion a month, I'll send you a third magazine as well. So yes, go to my about section if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Facebook, you can go to the blue button that says sign up, and I will send you those nice things and all my gratitude because, like I say, best job ever. Right, let's see who's here. Comments. I'm reading my comments. I'm reading all of the comments, not just the ones that YouTube deems relevant. Here we go. And then, still got 40 minutes until the Lego Story Show. Yeah, if you like limpets, be back here at 10:30. We're going to learn about limpets. It's Matilda! Matilda loves telling me she's from Birmingham, so that I do my Birmingham accent, which is really bad. This is not a Birmingham accent, is it? I have been to Birmingham, I love it, because of the library and Cadbury World, but I don't know anyone from Birmingham except Matilda, and I've never met Matilda and I don't know how she speaks. That is definitely Liverpool. I don't know what that is. Hello, Laurie. Oh, Laurie's getting a haircut today. Laurie, nice. Well done for that. I also want my haircut, but it's hard booking it. You got to book it in advance. I can't be dealing with it. So anyway, hello, Matilda. Hello, Laurie. Oh, what? Xander, are you kidding me? Folks, I love how Xander has turned viewing Theatre of Science for the first time into a science experiment. Hi, I'm Xander, and this is my first Theatre of Science. Is it really live? Could you say hello to prove it? Xander, I can say hello to you. I mean, you might not still be here because I feel like that was quite a lot of chatting in between you commenting that and me actually saying your name. But hello, Xander's here for the first time. It's so exciting. So Xander, you are now in the Science Alliance. That is what they call themselves. Basically, none of this job is down to me. I literally just put on a live stream 7 times a week and people make stuff up and tell me what to do. And one of the things they said was, like, if you're watching Theatre of Science lessons, you're in the Science Alliance. So welcome to the Science Alliance. That's so cool. Morning from Tom. Oh, you sure? Yeah. Tom, I'm not going to show you a picture because Tom might not want me to show it. But Tom's doing the activity that we're doing in the Lego Story Show. If you want to learn about limpets at 10:30, there's no printouts for it. I just chat about something that you told me to learn about. And we do an activity. It's really good. You need a balloon and a bottle and some just boiled water and adult supervision for the water. And well, I won't tell you what happens, but Tom, that's my something weird just happened face as well. Tom's going, I do that all the time. Hello, Agnes. Oh, wait, what? Agnes wanted to share her piglet cuddles with you. Is that not a cat? Whoa, it's not a cat. It took me a little while to work out where, no offence, this is a cute piglet, but my brain wasn't processing it. It's just a confusing combination of ears and eyes. You ready? Look, that's very young, isn't it? That is one cute piglet. Thank you, Agnes. Thank you. So we've got a bit of a, I don't know what it is with you lot and farm animals. There's always a picture of a goat in the comments, and now there's a piglet. Hello, Myra and Thea. The chocolate powder was awesome, right? Oh yeah, I haven't done it with Clearly I need to buy all different kinds of drinking chocolate and see if it works with all of them. Hello, Aurelia. Love that the flower pops. We made hydrophobic sand last month. It was fun. Good use of the word hydrophobic. Yeah, so stuff that doesn't mix with water is hydrophobic. You know, like phobic kind of means scared of. How do you make hydrophobic sand? That sounds fun. Oh my goodness. Jancy. We've got Jancy, Jay and Daisy and Daniel, but that's like their cool band name. It's all their names mixed together. Here's our budgie, Bucky, for added cuteness. Bucky, you are cute. Hello, Amber. I used cocoa powder and it's really fun, despite my cat continually trying to drink the water. Oh no. Is it okay for cats to have chocolate? Dogs can't have it, can they? Cats, I think cats are pretty much indestructible. #science. All right, let's have a look at Bucky. Is that Captain America or is that just... Here's Bucky. Bucky, you again with the confusing... Bucky, these... I'm getting confused about like where your face is. There's a lot of lines and shapes going on here. I mean, that's probably deliberate. Wow, look at those colours. Look at those... What are they? Talons? We've got... Wow. There's usually a lot of cats and dogs watching, but you guys are really... You're really upping the ante. Hello, Flynn. We have remembered we have a manga copy of The Tempest, which we haven't read. There you go. Oh, what's Miranda wearing in the manga version of The Tempest? Let's have a look. Ooh. Okay. Do you know what? If that is Miranda, which I'm assuming it is because only woman character, unless they've changed some things, that's actually quite similar to that famous artist whose name I can't remember, John something Williams something. Ah, I'm loving that outfit. Yeah, very cool. It's really similar, isn't it? I wonder if they'd seen that picture. She's sort of got the same colour hair. She's kind of got red hair. She's got a long blue dress on. She's got a belt on, maybe where she keeps her money. I like that. And there's Prospero, looking very trad with the stick and the beard and the cloak and stuff. Right. Hello, Magnus. Very excited to watch the steam train Sir Nigel Gresley come through our local line this morning after we watched the show. It's off to the North York Moors Railway. Oh, there's nothing like it, is it? The sound of it. You hear it before you see it. You get that. Oh, I love steam trains. Yeah, nice. Well, I hope you get to see that. I hope I haven't kept you too long. Ah, Bella saying, isn't Ariel a female character too? Nah, you can do what you like with Ariel. Plus, I suppose, well, maybe we should have said the female human. Are there any references to Ariel being male or female? I can't remember. Is Ariel a male or female in The Tempest? I mean, it's always played that you can do what you like. You can have it be a boy or a girl or neither. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, gender is ambiguous. Yes. Oh, it says on the internet here, Ariel widely viewed as a male character, or this view has wavered over the years, but occasionally through history women have played the role. Yeah, so Ariel is neither, basically. I mean, they're a spirit. We could do a whole lesson on the biology of Ariel, but we won't. Hello, Imogen and Ophelia. We watched the 1992 animation of The Tempest yesterday that Mum watched as a child. I think I remember having to watch that. My mum was an English teacher, and literally you couldn't open a cupboard in our house without a copy of The Tempest or some worksheet of The Tempest like bonking you on the head. And it took me quite a long time to learn to love The Tempest again. But I do now. But that is the sort of thing she'd have been like, oh guys, guess what's on? Brilliant. Yeah, there you go. A lot of people remembering the 1992 animation of The Tempest, yes. The daughter might wear the dad's clothes. Violet, I think that's lovely. I love that. You could have so much fun with that, couldn't you? Some old clothes of Prospero's and like maybe some sort of string and stuff and the sleeves rolled up. I would really like that. And it would also be a nice way of showing how much influence that he had over her. Maybe by the end she could have kind of shrugged off some of those clothes or something and have made her own I don't know. Hello, Gus! Hey, it's Gus! Back live for 2 weeks, then he'll finish the professional cookery course he's been doing on Thursday mornings for a few more weeks. Still doing all the sessions on YouTube. Gus, hello. Gus's name is the most versatile name that we've ever come across in theatre science. When we did about mycology and mushrooms, he was Fun Gus. When we did the Romans last module, he was Augustus. Gus, what are you going to be for Shakespeare? Have we discussed this? Maybe you should be Discuss. Discuss. Because we discuss a lot. Because it's English lit. Probably we can work on that. My dad says, can you change the mirror image setting? Oh, Benjamin, I know. I didn't reply to your dad, did I? Yeah, I did try. I have done it twice now. Yeah, Benjamin's dad is on a mission to get this the right way around again. Hopefully, Benjamin's dad, are you all right with this? Does this please you? Because I've written this backwards. So this hopefully looks forwards to you. If that looks backwards to you, that would be good because it is backwards and it means that I'd solved the problem. But yeah, I've been to all of the settings and jabbed all of the buttons, and apparently it's still not working, is it? I can only think that it's just something that YouTube does. It's not bothering me that much because if you're new, YouTube has just changed it. I mean, it happens all the time. Social media just keeps changing and I have to just keep changing things. Facebook doesn't flips the script. On Facebook, I always have to write everything backwards so that it looks forward to you. On YouTube, I could write forwards and YouTube automatically sort of solved it and you saw it forwards. But now YouTube's changed, so I have to write backwards again. Which, to be honest, is sort of easier for me. I'm actually getting better at writing backwards than I'm writing forwards. But it's really annoying Benjamin's dad, because last week we looked at the Very Hungry Caterpillar and it's all flippy, and Benjamin's dad's brain's like, fix this! Well, I haven't. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. Benjamin, can you just, I don't know, just like pat your dad on the back or something? I'm sorry. If he's got any more ideas, by all means send them over. It would be good to have it fixed, wouldn't it? Hello, Freya and Hannah. We like the Go Powder activity. Yeah, me too. My mum says this is the stuff of nightmares. What is that? What are you doing? Why have you done that? I mean, that is the stuff of nightmares. It's got nothing to do with anything. Come on, have a look at this. This is what? This is Bella's, oh, I join in with all the lessons I love theatre science mum. Who is that? Is that you or your mum? Stop it. Are you doing a Tempest puppet show? Behave yourself. Oh, yeah. Oh, did you hear my singing? I wasn't quite sure you would you would hear that. I was trying not to get. Yeah, why do I know that tune? I think I've been in a production of the I have been in a production of the Tempest. I played Gonzalo because I'm a very positive person who talks a lot. And they put the tune, that Ariel's tune, to music, and it was a really good tune. It was really catchy, and it always stays in my head whenever I see the tune. But it's not the actual tune. Full fathom 5 thy father lies, of thy bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Oh, it's great. And the nice thing is, if I ever do an IGCSE on the Tempest, which I will not, then I'll always remember it. It's a good way to remember things, isn't it? But it's music. Anyway, Henry, unfortunately, I am running low on BB Goat pics. Sort yourself out. I need content, Henry. I need content from you. So I may have to broaden my horizons, but here is the last one for now. The reason we only have 3 goats now is that one, the big one, the evil goat, was mean and unhappy, so he's living back on his own at his own home. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I thought you were going to say living on a farm, which is not so good. If an adult ever tells you that an animal has gone to live on a farm, kids, that's not what's happened. Look at this picture of a goat. This is one of Henry's goats. Oh, actually 2 of Henry's goats. And I think there's a Henry in there too, but it's hard to make out. My goodness me. Weird collection of animals watching Theatre of Science today. Hello, Erin and Clara. Benjamin, hi. Sorry I haven't commented recently. I've been watching our catch-up. Oh, well, that's good. That's fine. I thought it was because your dad had banned Theatre of Science in the house because of the flippy. I would like them to say, hello, Pookie. Bella, are you all right? Bella, is your mum all right? Has something happened? Has someone had too much coffee? What's going on in your house? Edmund thinks skin is waterproof because if you need a drink, you can't just absorb it through your skin. Oh, yeah. Yeah, good point. Yeah, it wouldn't work, would it? not waterproof skin would be really bad, because every time we went out into the rain, we'd swell up like sponges, and it would just be super inconvenient. Yeah, we've got fat in the very, very, very top layer of our skin. He says maybe you should do a Lego story on accents. Yeah, that would be really good, actually. Oh, that would be great. That would be so good. Also, I would end up horribly offending so many people, but it would also be really fun. Hello, Willow and Darcy and Jackson. Hello. Oh, hello, Dexy. Is that your cocoa powder? What was that? That's a lot of cocoa powder. Did you just mix it in with the water at the end? Oh, hello, Grace and Hope. Hello, good to see you. Hello, Violet. Belle was fascinated by this experiment. Oh, that's nice, Belle. Hello. Hello, Belle. Oh, wait, no, this is a comment. I've replied to this already. Yes. Maybe you're watching, maybe you're not. You're probably not, because you've already done it. Hello. And there's Shuki as well, and Elsa, and Eunice, and Sarah, and Risa, who made me this amazing t-shirt. You're very patient, you lot, saying, Theatre of Science magazine, coming soon. Maybe. It is coming quite soon. I've got a delivery of wax, because the next magazine is about spies. It's got a really big long story that I wrote in it, true story of Mary Queen of Scots and how she got undone because of spies, and it's also it's got in it instructions for how you can fold a letter like Mary's Queen of Scots would have folded her letter so that no one can open it. I think I've got one here, actually. Yeah, here's the one that I did for practice. It's really cool. It's called letter locking. So you write a letter, and because envelopes weren't invented, they had to fold it in a way that locked the letter so that you knew if it had been opened. So good. And yeah, I've got these really special, made in the UK, no plastic in them, no animal products in them, little cubes of wax so that you can melt the wax with a teaspoon and put it on, and then like make a little seal and seal it like they would have in the olden times. Oh, I love the end of writing Theatre of Science magazine when it all starts coming together and being really fun. But I will let you know when to get excited about that. But she says, seamlessly linking to her ad at the start there, if you sign up to support me with £5 a month, not only will you get all the amazing magazine glasses, description of how the glasses work type things, you will be on the list to get the next magazine on spies when it comes out soon. Maybe. Right, I'm going to go because I need to reset the Lego Story Show about limpets before I go live again in 25 minutes time. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Thank you for your cash money, which is the only way that I can do this job. I will see you all very soon.